Hello, I'm Robert, and welcome back to another edition of the High Desert Ranch and Homestead. Today I want to show you just a little bit of the ranch food a recipe from my forefathers that helped settle this valley. It was a staple for what they chose to eat because they had plenty of these ingredients on hand: flour, sugar, butter, and milk, and of course eggs. So come along today as I'm going to show you a traditional Danish um, uh, meal. It's called lumpy dick, but I like to call it pioneer dumplings. It's a little bit better name to say as you're trying to introduce people to the food. So get your mind out of the gutter. I know what you're thinking. So come along here on the High Desert Ranch and Homestead. Alrighty, so you want to start warming up your milk. I suggest having it just slightly above medium heat. I'm using an electric stove, so you're looking 6.5 to 7 setting. And I'm going to be serving my family. If you're looking to serve about 4 adults, you'll be using right around 3/4 of a gallon of milk. I'm using 2%. That's just kind of what I've used for better consistency. If you want to use whole milk or even some farm fresh milk, you're going to get quite a bit thicker consistency. I've never cooked with that, so I can't tell you. Either way, moving on, you'll want to spread crack just a little bit of fresh pepper into your milk. And then for this particular serving portion, I'm going to start out using about 5 cups of flour. Then I'm going to add some more fresh ground pepper and some salt to add some flavor, and then lightly mix it up with the fork that I'm going to use to make my dumplings. And I'll move on to using right around 8 eggs to start out with. And as you can see, you need to keep the yolks separate. That's very key to that. And then Henry was my assistant to help break the yolks. You'll want to use each yolk with the fork, poke it, that will help. So now you can see I'm to the turning in portion. I'm not mixing it like you would a batter or a brownie mix or something like that. I found it convenient just to kind of twist my big glass bowl around and to work from the outside and then come in like that with that motion. Start from the outside and then bring the fork up to the middle. And then this is my initial as I'm starting to create my dumplings. And it's clearly not enough egg because, as you can see, it's still too fluffy and loose. So I will add more egg as needed to the point where it's very sticky and it's more yellow-like in appearance. Then I introduce more flour as I start to create my dumplings. So this might take you 1 or 2 times. That's okay. It's all about practice and patience. And as you add more egg in, do not forget to break the yolk. That's important. That helps with the consistency and makes your dumplings a lot easier to create. So I'm going to go add about 5 or 6 more eggs. That will usually suffice as I mix it in, and then I add more flour as needed to be able to start making my dumplings. And the key is, as long as you're not mixing like you would like a batter with a spatula or something like that, you're going to be okay. You just add a little bit more flour and a little bit more egg if needed, but at this point it's just adding more flour and you're going to start to see your dumplings take shape. Now, a little advice from me, don't make a rookie mistake inviting over some friends or even family. I made the mistake of, for myself, inviting my in-laws over to try this out for their first time. Now, it wasn't my first time making it, but it had been a couple of years since I had made it, and I hadn't cooked on an electric stove. I had cooked on a gas stove, and an electric stove is a different kind of heat than you would with a gas range. So you can definitely see that the dumplings are starting to take shape. They're still yellow, there's still a lot of yolk, and you essentially want to get to that point where you have a dumpling the size. They're all going to vary in size, but you want to make sure that you don't see any more of that yellow egg yolk anymore over your dumplings. So, and then you're going to want to check on your milk that's continuing to warm up as you're creating your dumplings. before you add your dumpling mixture in, you're going to want to make sure that your milk is right around 140 degrees. If you don't have a thermometer handy, if you're out camping or something like that, an emergency situation, I call it the 3-finger dip test. If you can dip it 3 times and you're okay, it's still too cool. But if you dip it 1, 2, 3, and you can barely dip it that 3rd time, you're at the perfect temperature to go ahead and add your dumpling mixture. So the reason why I choose a glass bowl as well, as you can see, is I add the dumpling mixture into the milk. You're going to want, it doesn't melt the glass bowl. It doesn't harm it at all. And that way I can get as close as I can to the milk so it doesn't splash everywhere. You're still going to have a little bit of splashing just by the nature of you dropping in these dumplings into the milk. Now the key is to continue to stir or mix, start from the bottom and bring up your dumplings up to the top. That way everything gets cooked consistently, nothing burns. You will have some burning down the bottom of your pan. Once you go to clean it out, you'll see that's okay. And this is the part of your dumplings that you can't just walk away. You've got to be there every 30 to 60 seconds, just lightly turning, bringing those dumplings from the bottom up. And your milk's going to start to thicken at this point, and that's okay. You want it to thicken. And you'll notice too that your dumplings are going to start getting that nice glaze on the outside, turning from that glaze to a nice creamy milk white coating. Again, not going back to science, you can start to see as your milk thickens up. It's going to take about 15 minutes to cook. And the way you know that it's ready is you want to take your largest dumpling as you approach about the 15-minute mark, cut it open, and instead of it being moist and gooey on the inside, it's actually going to be cooked like a bread-like substance on the inside. And that's when you know things are ready to go, because you want to get those dumplings just right. Otherwise, you're going to have raw dumplings that you're eating. No good. Another reason why you don't want to have too large of dumplings, want to make sure you break them up as you're creating them in your bowl. So I hope you learned a new meal today. If you haven't heard about it, I think it's great. It's what you could probably call survival food, but it's definitely some ranch food that will stick to your ribs. And it's best served hot. It also makes for a great warming up meal, breakfast in the morning. Just reconstitute it with a little bit of a little bit of milk, and you're good to go. So please enjoy, and please like, subscribe, leave some comments in below if you've tried it out. Let me know your thoughts. And so I hope that I was your ticket to help escape the ordinary today here in the high desert of the Intermountain West.